This is my village experience. I'm your host, Meissa Sarr. Welcome. And so for this week, I would like maybe to jump on the main topics that encompass all the subjects of life, of the experience of life that each of us has. And so I feel that most of mental health and social issues stem from a lack of balance. And I think in a way of addressing these huge topics is maybe to break it down in what are called the basics in the experience of life. At least that's how I see that you can explain the whole experience of life in different parts. And according to the Minnesota Multiphasic Personality Inventory, there is an increase in mental health issues. And it was between the 30s to the early 90s. But it's likely, based on that report of the MMPI, that it's different. The mental illnesses and mental health issues at that time is different, growing from another type of mental illnesses. Around the 30s, you could have understood what would be the basic, if you can call it that, some basic factors of stress and other trauma. And the World War just happened and is about to happen again. So the whole world is in a state of pressure. And so that is why I think that it goes in three main parts as human being. The first is to live, the other one to learn, and then to love. To live seems to be pretty logic. When you're trying to explain someone how to live, it feels even like that you are telling to this person, okay, so stop with your life or your personality or anything that shows your individuality and come follow something I think is better than that. And it doesn't even mean that way. Because to live is not just to wake up, to take a breakfast, go about your day and do these things repeatedly and still being empty in between. And that is why this is now the time that we have all these things that capture our attention. And actually, attention and sleep disorder were the two main mental issues that we see right now, mental health issues that are growing right now. And of course, we can talk about the screens and the blue light, as they call it. And the blue light actually wakes up part of your brain and create some chemistry in there that make your brain function and your whole body function as if you awaken or you are to go on your day. So there is that break that happens in between the time of the day where you are about and do your business, and from the evening to the night. So being able to be mindful, because to live, you are alive. If you're listening to this, you're basically alive, and being mindful of that aliveness, of being alive. And that is why to be mindful is to call for mindfulness. And most of the definitions, some that struck my mind were it was actually saying that mindfulness has two main areas that you can define it in. And the first one is the quality or state of being mindful, so awareness. And we actually talked about awareness. And in the other area is psychology, and it says the practice of maintaining a non-judgmental state of heightened or complete awareness of one's thought, emotions, or experience on a moment-to-moment basis. The self-regulation of attention with an attitude of curiosity, openness, and acceptance. And so, reading this definition, it makes me think that to live is not only to reproduce our same basic routine. It's not only that, because every single day is different from another one, even by the exact time you went out of your house. And so, don't think when someone tells you or try to explain to you from their perspective that it's not important. Because the first step, now that you try to be mindful, now that you try to be aware of not only yourself, but be aware of the others, that's when you start to realize that the other's perspective is the one that you could never see. It is the idea that whatever fear that you have, know that the other persons have or might have a whole different experience of it. And so one of the first steps to live is to discover the self. And I actually feel that people do not, well, at least most people do not pay attention to themselves. And if you are aware of your environment, if you are aware of anything else apart from your own self, your being aware or your awareness does not get to the unlimited scope it was put from, if you know what I mean. It is that when you put yourself in a box, you reduce your scope, you reduce your movements, at least. And so when you become aware of yourself, become aware of your movement, become aware of your breathing, you start to see it in all the spiritualities. Most of the spiritualities in the world, they have all of those factors in common. The meditation part, all of those is not to cut yourself from the world, but it is actually to cut yourself from the world too. And you take a pause and talk to yourself. Think about your manners. Think about even how you talk. Be not overly judgmental towards yourself, but just being aware of your actions in general. And that is one of the first step about living. And I think it's the step that encompasses all the other themes that we will talk about in the next 2 episodes, which will be to learn and the last one, to love. Thank you. Please share, subscribe, and review. Also, you can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at MV3Universe. And until next time, never forget, you're as unique as the universe. Peace be with you.